everyone, and welcome back to the Fundamentals of Investing podcast. My name is Ryan Farley. I'm 16 years old. I go to a performing arts school in New York, and I'm an actress.
Hi, I'm Ryan Hobby. I'm 15 years old, and I go to a public school in New Jersey, and I am an actor.
Hi, my name is Xavier Donaldson. I'm 15 years old. I go to a private school in West Orange, New Jersey, and I run track and field.
And today we have Dr. Anissa Riley joining us. Hello, and thank you so much for coming. She has been in education for over 30 years. She's a principal. She's the president and owner of Giant Step 6. She's a wife and mother of 4 as well. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. And I just like to correct people. It's Anissa.
Anissa, I'm so sorry.
Because Anissa, Anissa sounds just, I don't know. You gotta get the name right.
You have to get this stuff right. Come on.
I'm so sorry.
No problem. You're not the only one, Ryan, who says Anissa. But at least you didn't say Anisha, because some people put an H in there. And I'm like,
that's not there at all.
There's no H there. At all.
Yes. I have a friend named Anissa, so I wasn't thinking.
That's okay. Well, that means I remind you of your friends, and that is an honor and a privilege that I remind you of your friends, so thank you.
Yes. So can you tell us about the Ask Dr. Riley show?
Yes. So the Ask Dr. Riley show has been a dream of mine, not so much in the aspect of the show and the way in which it has come about, but I have a strong desire to help women more specifically, but people who have gone through trauma, to let them know that you can turn your trial into triumph. You can turn any bad situation and make it good. So there's a saying that says, turn your mess into a message, turn your test into a testimony. All of those fancy sayings that we have. I truly believe in those sayings. So the Ask Dr. Riley show is just the epitome of those sayings, where we give people the platform to share their trial, share their mess, share their test, and share how they've been triumphant. It has become a message. It's become a testimony. It has become a place where other people can hear it and say, oh my goodness, if they can get out of this horrific, harrowing experience, so can I, or how can I avoid it? Because every guest on my show, even though they've been through a test and a trial or some mess, they must have some type of business or how they are paying it forward. So some people get stuck, but not my guests.
I see. That sounds really interesting, actually. I was reading about it in your bio, and I was like, I have to ask her about this, because it was
right.
My eye.
It's all birthed out the fact that I have been a person that has experienced a lot of traumatic experience. I have experiences, people that have been probably through less than I have, I know are on drugs. They are in mental institutions. They have succumbed to pressures and have just not moved forward, become paralyzed, or unfortunately they made the harrowing decision of committing suicide and been successful at it. And so thanks be to God that I haven't, not that I haven't tried some of those things, but I am here to be a living testimony that life can happen after it all.
That's really inspiring. That's really
nice. Great message.
Yeah, just showing that you can turn your life around.
Yes.
Especially now with people who haven't really faced any mental struggles with everything that's happening in the world. They need like a fresh start, or just somewhere to vent to.
Yeah.
And that's a really great idea for a show.
Yeah, so that's why it's called Ask Dr. Riley. You can ask me and I can tell you, because I've been through some stuff. And then I could tell you how to get out of it, because I've been through it and I'm on the other side. So that's where the name Ask Dr. Riley comes from.
Exactly. No, yeah, Ryan Hobdy's definitely correct. This has definitely been like a trying time. It was for me, especially. I know in the beginning, I was having like really bad anxiety all the time, and I was just like seeing all of these horrible things going on. And then I had to take some time away from, the news and seeing all of the bad things happening in the world. And I just took some time for myself. And I was able to see, you know, some positives even in all of this darkness. And that's what you have to do.
Yes. Because if you stay there, you will be paralyzed, you will be stuck, you will have this mental Rolodex just playing, mental recorder just playing, and you won't be able to see your way out. So each step, just like you said, Ryan, is purposeful, intentional. Stop listening to the news, turn it off. Get away from the bad stuff, just get away. You may say that's not easy. Yes, it is. Just do it.
I just cut it off. I was like, I can't see it anymore because it's just bad. They never put anything good on the news. It's just bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news.
And it becomes an addiction. Sometimes people are addicted to it. Like they have to watch it, just like drugs. So your drug may not be heroin, cocaine, marijuana, or those drugs that we normally associate with. But news, bad news is a drug. You know, that becomes, and you get addicted to it. And so that's why it's hard to get away, but you have to. You gotta go, you have to, in order to be mentally well.
Because it just portrays all of the world so negatively, and there's so many beautiful things about the world that they never talk about.
Yes, like this show!
We should be on the news, guys.
That's the young people doing some great work. You don't see that on the news. But hey, don't you worry about it, because people listening to this podcast are going to know that we got some 15 and 16-year-olds doing some marvelous things.
Thank you.
You know what? We don't need to be on the news. We need to be on BET.
Yes.
Oh, speak it into existence. Speak it out.
Put us on.
They need to be on BET. So I know somebody is listening to this podcast. You know somebody at BET. You are from BET. Check out these young people. They are fierce and fabulous. And they are now, not next. They are now.
We are now.
Hallelujah.
Okay, so what is it like being an elementary school principal?
Ooh, just out the gate. That's what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just really curious because I was a little bit of a troublemaker in elementary school, so I just want to know how the principal feels from that perspective.
So I'll say this. I'm not going to call you a troublemaker. I'm going to call you a little maverick, because I was a little maverick too, you know, testing the waters, you know. So you probably been the ones in my office. It's funny, like, I think I attract those high energetic people, little children. I attract them. So all of my teachers are going, those are your favorites. I love that energy because unharnessed energy can be destructive, right? So if it's not harnessed, if it's unharnessed, then it becomes destructive. But once you harness the energy, it becomes a powerful force. So the best way I can give that example is think about a dam and think about water. So water, when it is allowed to just do whatever, it brings a whole bunch of destruction, floods, chaos, just everything. But when you take that water, that same powerful force, and you put it into a dam and you harness it, electrical power, you food. So that's how I see little people like you, Xavier. That's some energy that has to be harnessed, right? And once you learn how to direct it and flow with it, then you become this powerful force. Like right now, you're on this podcast. But to answer your question directly, I love it. I love being an elementary school principal. I'm not a middle school principal. I can do it. I'm not a high school principal. I can do it. I am an elementary school principal, as you can tell from my energy, right? Mm-hmm. But the reason why I love it is because that is the opportunity for me to mold little people's minds, set the foundation. Their first experience to school is at elementary school. And so I'm very, very intentional about what it is I expose them to, because I want them to believe that school is the place for them to get what they need in order to be successful in the world. Everyone needs school. They need to love it. They need to feel safe. They need to believe that they can do anything. And once we have that ingrained in the children's minds at 3 and 4 and 8 and 9 years old, then I believe they can do anything.
That's very true. I still think back on elementary school and I think about all my favorite teachers and what we used to do. People don't talk about it enough. Honestly, it's a really important time in your life. That's when you're very young and impressionable.
Yes. Wait, it's funny you say that because I've been a principal for 15 years, right? And so I've had children when they were kindergarten, and now they're like 15 and 19 and 22 years old. And I see them out on the street, doing stuff they have no business. And I'm like, hey. And they're like, yes, yes. Going back to that little 5-year-old child when they were in kindergarten in my school. So they was like 22, 6 feet tall. But as soon as I say their name, they're like, yes, yes. So that's the impression that it has. So I love it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it sticks with you.
Yeah. So Xavier, what were you gonna say, you little maverick? You?
Excuse me, what was that?
I said I called you a little maverick.
Oh, okay. I like that better, to be honest, than a little troublemaker. I like it better.
Right, that's right. Maverick, you're not a troublemaker. Let me tell you something, and I'm gonna be real open with this. There are some people out there who, when we look at little black and brown boys more specifically, and I'll talk about girls in a second, when we look at little black and brown boys and they are expressing themselves in ways that seem, people want to label them as troublemakers, right? And then we have white and Asian boys who display the same challenging characteristics or behaviors, and they say, look at the little leader. Look at the little leader. So when we talk about systemic racism or institutional racism, it begins right there. So you have 5-year-old black and brown boy, and then you have a 5-year-old white or Asian boy displaying the same characteristics. Why is one called a troublemaker and the other called a leader? So you're not a troublemaker. He's a maverick, just like me. We change the world. We are disruptors. We make people remember us. You are unforgettable. I guarantee you that people have remembered you, Xavier. Maybe they'll be like, oh, that Xavier, but you'll never forget me.
One of my closest, not friends, but adults that I still talk to, she was my 2nd grade teacher's assistant, and her name is Miss Hunter, and she was so nice to me. Like, I used to get in trouble like a lot, but I used to go to the principal's office like every day, and Miss Hunter used to walk me there. We used to have like nice conversations, and right after that, she used to give me she always used to give me Jolly Ranchers to cheer me up because my principal was kind of annoying. But yeah.
But you just said something that's very key and very important, and it is a relationship. So you had Miss Hunter took time to build a relationship with you, and in that relationship, I'm sure there was probably, if Miss Hunter said jump 6 feet in the air, you probably would have tried to jump 6 feet in the air because Miss Hunter established a relationship. And that's what's key when we're talking about educating students, that we have to remember that 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds are little people who crave relationship. We are people who crave relationship. And so as much as we may find them to be, some people want to call them troublemakers or challenging behaviors, we as adults should stop and build a relationship. And there's nothing that the little person won't do for you. And that's for anybody, whether you're 2, 20, 22, 202, you just have a relationship.
Exactly. Yep. Some people are like, oh, little kids are so annoying. They always want to talk to you. I love it when little kids come up to me and talk to me. I'm like, oh, they chose me.
You can have the most interesting conversation with the elementary schooler.
They want to tell you all these stories, and I'm like, I'll listen. Tell me everything.
Yes.
They could run up to you. It doesn't matter where you are, and you just have a whole conversation, and it's just the funniest thing.
And they start going, so why? And then I was reading, and why, and why?
And my mom told me, I'm like, oh.
Yes.
Going back to your show, what was your inspiration to start your show?
So, I'll say this. So since we were in this pandemic, my good friend who started OSG, Dennis McKeezy, you guys had him on the earlier show. He started our meetings every Thursday in OSG called the Meetup. So in that particular one Thursday, we had Dane Dash himself be one of our guests in the room, and he really started challenging us as principals to think about our dreams, our goals, and our aspirations, because oftentimes we as educators pour out so much, or are so given of ourselves, or so taking care of others, you know, our students, our teachers, our families, that we put ourselves on the back burner, not intentionally, just by default of our job. And we don't even think about taking care of ourselves. We become such givers. So in that conversation in the virtual space during this pandemic, Dame Dash challenged us to begin to think about what we wanted. And it was at that moment that it clicked for me that I had put my desires and my dreams and my goals on pause, not purposefully, but just by the way the life was happening. And so when he put that challenge forth, I was like, hey, why not? World is on pause. So let me unpause some of things that are happening in my life that I've wanted to do. And Ask Dr. Riley took off. We did it. I can't even tell you the blessing with it. And when you just take that leap of faith, God puts everything in your path. Amazing. I'm excited.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, a lot of people have taken up, you know, a lot of things that they've been putting off doing because life gets busy, but then you're stuck here and you're like, well,
life hit.
I can either lay in bed and watch Netflix, or I can do something with my time.
Exactly.
And that was definitely me until we started the podcast. And I was like, this is giving me a purpose. Now I don't lay in bed all day.
Yes. And you get to meet some amazing people.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Talk to some amazing people. Develop some good relationships, like we were saying.
Yes, yes. And who knew that virtual space like this could be used to, one, create these amazing relationships, and two, meet some amazing people. We weren't even thinking about it before. It's always been there, but not utilized in this way where you can meet people. For instance, Dame Dash is in California. I haven't seen him face to face yet, but that's my brother. We see each other like twice a week, and you can't tell me that he's not ride or die for me, just like I'm not ride or die for him, you know?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And of course, we could just touch everybody and hug them and see them.
Yes.
This is good for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do well last.
So I like your sign behind you, Xavier, positive energy.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even see it.
Thank you.
Is that your bedroom?
No, this is my basement, actually.
Oh, okay.
Is that like one painting, or is it like
segment?
Like a puzzle.
Oh, it's like a cup with, I see.
Yeah, there's like another one over here, but it's like a shoe.
Oh, okay.
Nice. So, you've been working in education for over 30 years, is that correct?
Yes.
So can you tell us what that's been like, you know, as a Black woman especially?
Yes, so I think I'll start and work my way back, right? Okay. So right now I'm a principal, and I think this, as a principal, is where I experience my most challenging aspects in education as a Black woman. And what you may find interesting is that it didn't come from another race. It didn't come from any white person. It didn't come from any Asian person, but it actually came from my own Black and brown people. Mm-hmm. You know, we as Black and brown people know that probably the most harrowing experiences have come from our own. And, you know, that also stems from systemic racism. That also comes from, you know, post-slave syndrome, you know, all of that. But it was very, very interesting that my struggle, my muck and my mire, my pushing through came from those that ascribed and call themselves Black and brown. And that's when I was just like, what? I'm trying to help Black and brown babies, and the Black and brown people don't want me to help the Black and brown babies. You know, and that was very hard, and very it hurt a lot. You know, I think, you know, you expect racism from people of another race. You expect it, right? So when it happens, you're like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, that's you, that's not me, and I understand that, you know, and I've experienced that, but to the degree that I experienced it from my own, and not so much racism, because, you know, racism is about, you know, races and who's in power, but the prejudices and the struggle and the tension and the obstacles, that's when I was just like, okay. And then the reason why I can say it was because I was a Black woman is because it was a difference when my white counterpart came in, or my white supervisor, or another race that was my assistant principal. The difference in their relationship was way different. And then going back to me being assistant principal and a teacher, I didn't have it. It was just absolutely beautiful. They were just like, "Oh my gosh, you're just amazing." And I was just like, "Yeah, I am." And the kids were like, "Oh my gosh, you're so cool." And I was like, "Yeah, I am." When a 5-year-old tells you you're cool,
Yeah, you're cool.
you're cool. Because 5-year-olds will tell you if you're not cool.
They're very honest.
Yes. They'll be like, "Ew, your breath stinks, you're a stinky lady, you're mean, and I don't like you." But so that's basically it. Not that I didn't have any racial encounters when I was a elementary school, when I was a teacher or an assistant principal, but it was something that, not to say that I expected it, but it was just like I wasn't like shocked,
because there's all those stereotypes of Black and brown people, especially Black women. We all know.
Yes. I've been called aggressive. I've been called revolutionary. I've been called, that other word that we don't like that begins with the B. I've been called that, and be like, "Oh, she's so angry." I'm like, "You haven't had that. She an angry Black woman." Well, I'm angry. Just like you, Xavier. You showed leadership qualities. You weren't a troublemaker. I wasn't angry. I'm being aggressive, and I'm speaking facts. Like, I believe in this statement: straight talk leads to straight understanding.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't beat around the bush. I don't say a whole bunch of words. No, I'm going to talk to you straight. I'm not going to be disrespectful or rude. But when you leave my presence, you're going to be very clear about what I've said and what I've meant. Now, people call that arrogant. No, you just can't handle it, because you're used to people going, "So, what I was, no." My thing is, what I was thinking, and this is what we're going to do. Do you have any thoughts about it?
Exactly. And it's much better to be straightforward. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. That first one was me, because for years I've always seen that stereotype, the angry Black woman. So I was like, "Oh, I never want that to be me." So I would always just be very, very calm, so no one could ever have an excuse to call me that. But one day I was just like, who cares?
Nope, let's go. Because we have that phrase that's in the world now that's so common. Karen can be Karen, or Becky can be Becky, and it's okay. They want to excuse it. But when Latifa or Quanasia or Anissa or Ryan want to express themselves, then we're angry Black women,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And we're working on fixing that.
Yeah.
That stigma is definitely being broken now.
Because everyone's just being themselves, and that's what we need. People are they hide themselves, so it's like, it's seen as, oh, it's this big scary thing. But once you're yourself and you embrace it, it's like, who cares?
Authenticity is key. Authenticity is key.
Yeah, people can always tell when you're not being genuine. I've learned that.
Yes, very true. Very true.
It's like a sixth sense. Like if they're being real with you or not.
Yes, you can take it. There's a saying that says, emotions are energy in motion, right? Emotions are energy in motion. So when you're not being genuine, you're emoting, and that energy is like, wonky, like something's not up. I can't put my finger on it.
Something ain't right.
Something ain't right. I call it the God Noah. Some people just call it intuition. Some people call it a sixth sense. But
yeah, you can always say
right.
Not right.
Not right.
So, sorry, bringing it back to your show again.
Yes.
What do you want the big picture of your show to be? Like, what do you want people to take away from after they watch your show?
That you don't have to stay in your mess. You can be successful. You can live your best life. Because what some people, so there's this saying that says, time will heal old wounds, or just give us some time. But there have been people that have been grieving for 20 years. There's some people have been stuck for 20 years over something that happened in their childhood or something that happened when they were young, you know, and they're still feel the pain or they still cry about it. So time healing all wounds. And I got that from my girlfriend who lost her husband, that's not what happens, right? So time, there's a fallacy with that statement. So what I want you to walk away is that you have to be intentional and you can live your best life. You may have moments of, ooh, okay, I remember that. I was like, okay, you may have those moments, but those moments don't have to have you. Those moments don't have to paralyze you. And you can put one foot in front of the other and still live a great, prosperous financial life, a great and prosperous emotionally healthy life, a great and prosperous physical life. Whatever it is that you desire, you still can do it, although these things have happened to you. And the Ask Dr. Riley show is just one avenue to help you realize that.
Mm-hmm. That actually reminds me of a quote to help get rid of trauma. I mean, not get rid of it, but help deal with it. Mm-hmm. It was, you never learn to live with your demons, but you learn to rise above them.
Right.
I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, yeah, mental health, especially these days, it's something that a lot of people have been struggling with. But I've gotten really into like meditation, and I've been praying a lot more, which is good. And I try to recommend that to people because sometimes people don't have an outlet, so they're just letting everything sit within them and they don't want to talk about it and they don't want to acknowledge it. But you have to if you want to. Yes. If you want to start moving past it or above it, rather.
Yes.
Right. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be meditation, not something that you're forcing yourself to do to make yourself better. What I do is just I take some time to just watch some YouTube videos that I know that will make me better, or just read a book that I won't ignore my demons, but that it makes me calmer so that I can rise above them one day.
And you know, that's a scientific fact. So when you're doing things that make you smile, make you laugh, relax you are actually allowing your brain to release this called happy hormones. And so the happy hormones, you know, that's the slang word, but it's, I'm not going to use the word because we're on a podcast and they be like, you a doctor, you don't even know the correct term. It's, you know, endorphins and all this other stuff. We're just going to call them happy hormones, right? Release the happy hormones, which helps your brain to relax and calm down, because stress heightens it. It's like cortisol, I think it is. It heightens it. But when you smile and you laugh and you do something that is pleasing to you, it releases a whole lot of happy hormones, and then you're able to move forward.
Yes. 100%. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up unless anyone has any other questions.
I'm good. X, you got anything?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy that you came and spoke with us. We learned so much from you.
Thank you for having me.
It has been such an honor to be graced with your presence.
Love your energy.
Yes.
Baby, yeah, that's supposed to be mavericks. One maverick to another. We see each other.
No, before you came, we were all like, oh, I'm so tired, but I feel so energized now after talking to you.
Right. I had 3 cups of tea. I was still tired. I am no longer that tired because of all your positive energy.
Exactly. Yeah. You got my brain going. You got me smiling, got me happy.
See, I told you, happy hormones. Happy hormones.
Exactly.
I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It's an honor and a privilege to even be in a room. You know, when I was 16 and 15, I wasn't on no podcast. I was doing some stuff, but not talking to adults like this in this setting. So I appreciate it. Thank you for paving the way. And I can't wait until you're like on BET.
Yes, we'll give you a shout out.
Yes, I'm gonna be like this. I know them.
Okay, thank you so much again.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Just leave it. Just leave.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like, y'all gonna say something? I was like,
Yeah.
all right, see y'all. Bye-bye.
You're good.
I was like, am I gonna have to kick her out? I
We're
don't
gonna have to boot her.
want to have to do that. I had to do that in the last one. I felt bad, but I was like, I don't think she
That
got
was
it.
2 funny people in a row.
It was, and I was so
Yep.
tired, and now I'm good. I mean,
That was
I'm
like a
probably
whole
still
comedy
gonna-
special.
I'm probably still gonna go to sleep, but not because I'm tired. I have to sleep.
Facts.
It's been a long day, but that was a good one. I enjoyed that. What about you guys?
Yeah, that was fun.
Definitely.
That was a good time. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Fundamentals of Investing, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Peace.
This podcast is brought to you by Hailstorm LLC, produced by Jalen Hoppy.